very good evening. This is the PNGTV Live News Bulletin. Oil Search PNG Biomass Project in the Makam Valley is a long-term renewable energy initiative aimed at assisting the PNG government in achieving increased electricity to at least 70% of its consumer base by 2030. PNGTV Live managed to speak to Jesse Mitir during the PNG Petroleum and Energy Summit to highlight how this 25-year-old project is changing lives in the Makam Valley. After accessing land in the Makam Valley 6 years ago, following feasibility studies, trees were then planted with the assistance of locals within the area. The project will use wood chips from trees sustainably grown and harvested in surrounding plantations to fuel a biomass power plant to provide up to 30 megawatts into the Ramo grid. Communities around the area are also encouraged to use this project for their own benefit as well.
When we access land, we pay them land rentals, but not only that, but they do on a daily basis to maintenance in the field, so they do take part in that. Also, we do not want to disengage them from the land, so when we plant the trees in between, we do intercropping as well, so they have the option of planting their own crops. So the ones that have really done well are watermelons and cucumbers.
This biomass renewable energy project will establish PNG's first biomass steam cycle plant and assist the government's commitment to expanding access to power and implementing renewable energy targets. The project is supported by a 25-year power purchase agreement that was signed with PNG Power Limited in December of 2015. Under this agreement, this project will generate up to 30 megawatts of renewable biomass-fired reliable base load power for the Ramo grid, with power delivery commencing 2020. After harvesting in 2020, families around the area will also benefit from crop sharing benefits,
as well as carbon shares that they'll be given. So there are three streams of benefits there for them: land rentals, carbon share, and crop share. And there's also employment for them and intercropping.
A business group has also been set up for landowners around the area, with close to 50 skilled workers assisting in this project.
But also we have the core team under the Makam Valley Biomass that's really providing the service for them. But most contracts will be under the business group, which is called Ziffering Business Group.
A head teacher of a primary school in Manus province has been charged for sexual assault. 51-year-old Jerry Sile of Budralis village in the PNKA LLG was arrested and charged early this week for sexually abusing a female teacher at the Ndramalmal primary school. Quintin Anaime with this update.
Manus Provincial Police Commander David Yapu tells PNGTV Live the head teacher allegedly invited the female teacher into his office, locked the door and sexually abused her. She then reported the matter to police, which resulted in his arrest. He is expected to appear in the Lorengau District Court this week. Yapu describes the head teacher's actions as disgraceful and disrespectful to fellow teachers and students and has tarnished his reputation and character. Meanwhile, people living on the islands and along the coast of Manus province are warned to keep a lookout for saltwater crocodiles after an old man was attacked and killed by one. 62-year-old Sokal Silikara from Baluan Island in the Bolopa LLG was killed after he was attacked by a crocodile while fishing near Low Island last week Thursday. The deceased was in the water when he was attacked by the crocodile, but was unable to be saved by his brother and other people on the boat. PPC Yapu urges the villagers at Low and Baluan Island to report any sightings of crocodiles to police. Quintina Naime, PNGTV Live.
Australia will continue to provide support to those affected in the recent devastating 7.5 magnitude earthquake. Australia Foreign Minister Julia Bishop has assured that the Australian government will continue to work with PNG during the reconstruction phase of the affected areas. Quintin Anaime reports.
Australia has been helping with relief efforts through emergency supplies and specialist personnel transport and distribution in affected areas, helping to restore electricity and supporting vulnerable women and children. During the opening of new facilities, Sirapitoi Romana at the PNG Institute of Public Administration, Minister Bishop took a moment to reflect on the impact of the devastating earthquake.
Again, I extend the Australian Government's deepest sympathies to those who were killed. I know that many are still seeking assistance, and the Government of PNG is coming to terms with the sheer scale of the impact of these earthquakes.
Minister Bishop announced a team of Australian doctors will be arriving in the country shortly as part of the Australian Medical Assistance Team, who have been working with NGOs, private sector and the government to provide relief.
And Mr Prime Minister, I can assure you that the Australian Government will continue to work with you as you enter the reconstruction phase, and we will partner with you on the priorities that your government has for the reconstruction of this devastated area.
The Australian government is providing an additional $3.4 million in assistance to help affected communities re-establish their livelihoods, repair and rebuild infrastructure, and restore water and sanitation, with a specific focus on the needs of women, girls and people with disabilities. This brings Australia's humanitarian aid for the earthquake response to 12.5 million kina. Quintina Naime, PNGTV Live.
You're watching PNGTV Live News Bulletin. More after these messages. The Indian Association of Papua New Guinea presented 5 checks to 5 groups this week with a total of 55,000 kina. The association has 150 registered members and was established in the country in 1982. Gregory Avera has this report.
This year, the Indian Association of Papua New Guinea has raised over 100,000 kina. The association presented up to 55,000 kina to 5 groups in the city. This includes 25,000 to the PNG Children's Foundation, 10,000 to the Sisters of Charity, 10,000 to Anglican PNG, 5,000 to Missionary Sisters of the Immaculate, and 5,000 to the PNG Cancer Foundation. The Indian Association of PNG says it will continue giving back to the PNG community through its partnerships with different programs and networks. Gregory Avira, PNG TV Live.
The United Nations Children's Fund, or UNICEF, has delivered 23 metric tons of relief supplies to PNG as part of ongoing efforts to help children and families who were hardest hit by the recent earthquake. The government estimates 270,000 people are in need of urgent assistance, which includes 125,000 children. Quintina Naime with this report.
The relief supplies consist of tents and tarpaulins, water purification tablets, hygiene kits, blankets and learning kits. UNICEF representative for PNG Karen Allen highlights it is their duty to help the children of PNG who are in need following the earthquake. She says with limited access to basic necessities, families are struggling to survive in crowded shelters.
This shipment of tents and water and sanitation supplies will be used to set up safe spaces for children so that they can recover psychologically from the trauma they've been in, so that they'll have a clean, safe environment while rebuilding of their homes is going on, and so that they'll have access to specialized counseling.
UNICEF needs $4.6 million or 45.7 million kina to provide humanitarian assistance to children and families affected by the earthquake over the next 9 months. UN resident coordinator in PNG, Gianluca Rempola, explains that the relief supplies delivered are part of the overall support by the government of PNG, the UN system, the governments of Australia and New Zealand, other humanitarian partners and the private sector.
As UN, we've been working with the government from the immediate day after the disaster, and this is one of the largest largest shipment that we have come in with. There's going to be more coming. We are expecting a large shipment of food to come in the next few days. And overall, as a UN, we hope to be able to contribute in terms of immediate relief items over $12 million worth of response materials.
Acting Chief Executive Officer for the Office of Child and Family Services, Simon Yanis, thanks UNICEF for the assistance.
And on behalf of government, UNICEF has done a lot for the children of this country. It's not new. And I, as the head of the Office of the Children in this country, I'd like to thank UNICEF again for this biggest gesture.
UNICEF has today delivered 12,000 packets of food and enough vaccines to protect 31,700 children against the increasing risk of disease outbreak and malnutrition. Quintina Naime, PNGTV Live.
And looking at other relief supplies, also today, PNG Air had dispatched their Dash 8 freighter with 3 tons of much-needed food and medical supplies for survivors in the Southern Highlands region. The devastation caused by the earthquake in the Highlands has been on a scale never to be seen in the country before. Chairman of PNG Air, Mari Wu, says that PNG is doing its best to support the relief efforts and have made its Dash 8 freighter available at no charge at all to assist with moving these desperately needed supplies to the people in need. Mr. Wu says PNG is relatively small, but its staff feel strongly that they also need to play their part, and this is how they show their support. The donated supplies have been collected by the Hela Earthquake Relief and then dispatched to its cargo operation, who sorted out and prepared the goods for uplift this morning. Staff and crew had also taken time out to also help in this relief effort. You're watching PNGTV Live News Bulletin. More after these messages. Welcome back. You're watching PNGTV Live News Bulletin. 60 outstanding applications for dual citizenship will be assessed by the newly appointed Citizenship Advisory Committee, or CAC. The 4-member committee, chaired by member for Talasia, Francis Manake, was sworn in today by the Governor-General, His Excellency Grand Chief Sir Bob Dadai. Quentin and Aime with this report.
Chairman of Citizenship Advisory Committee.
How?
The members sworn in are Francis Maneke as chairman, member for Mulbaya Koi Trape as deputy chairman, Chief Migration Officer for PNG Immigration and Citizenship Authority Solomon Kentha, and Secretary for Department of Justice and Attorney General Dr. Lawrence Kalinoy. The Citizenship Advisory Committee has a lot of outstanding issues to address, including the dual citizenship and the neutralized citizenship. The committee will assess the applications and do recommendations. Minister for Immigration and Border Security Petrus Thomas says a good number of applicants for dual citizenship have been living in PNG for the last 40 years. He highlights most of them have been part of the development of PNG in terms of business.
So we of the view that it is only fair that those people who has contributed to this country in the last 40, 50 years, or if not before independence.
How?
It is only fair that we have to recognize them and award dual citizenship. And again, it depends on the assessment and if they qualify.
Chief Migration Officer Solomon Kantha reveals there are various assessments to conduct, including compliance checks.
We do various compliance checks with NIO, with IPA, with the police, with Department of Labor, with the Environment and Conservation Authority, with Interpol as well. And these checks and assessments are compiled in the reports for the CAC members to assess and make recommendations.
Kantha says they have gone through most of the applications and majority of those applicants reside in the nation's capital.
We are hoping that in the next few days we'll be able to go through with the first batch of applicants, and hopefully before the end of the year we can get rid of the current caseload that we have.
The term of the committee is for a period of 4 years. Quintina Naime, PNGTV Live.
And the 91-member contingent to represent PNG in next month's Commonwealth Games in the Gold Coast, Australia, is ready and looking forward to the event. Deputy General Team Manager Andrew Lepani tells PNGTV Live the 56 athletes have trained well and will be travelling on the 3rd of April, one day before the opening ceremony. Gregory Avera with this report.
Started last year, so this is a travel insurance policy.
The country will be taking part in 10 out of the total 23 sports on offer. Today saw the announcement by insurance group Capital, who will be providing travel and medical insurance cover for the contingent for the duration of the Games. Accompanying the 56 athletes will be 35 officials from respective sporting codes and the general team management. Deputy General Team Manager Andrew Lepani says the team has prepared well and is positive they will do well, with support surely to come from the community in Gold Coast.
And plus, because it's the Gold Coast, it's very close to Papua New Guinea, so we're expecting our athletes to rise to the occasion and also to have a bit more support than we normally have when we travel to the Commonwealth Games with the PNG community down in Australia, and the friends of the PNG community as well coming to support our athletes.
The last Games in Glasgow, Scotland in 2014 saw PNG winning 2 gold medals in weightlifting, finishing in 16th spot on the tally. This is one sporting code that stands a strong chance for medal contention.
Based on their Commonwealth rankings, then we are confident that we could have some medals coming from our weightlifting team, but we don't want to put any additional pressure on those athletes.
A notable omission from the side will be track queen Toya Whistle. Whistle was dropped from the side following an incident in last year's Mini Pacific Games in Vanuatu.
We're also disappointed that Toya isn't going to be representing Papua New Guinea at the Commonwealth Games, but I'm sure she's also disappointed with the reason why, in terms of her own behavior at the Pacific Mini Games. Decision was made based on the fact that at the Pacific Mini Games she failed to attend the medal ceremony for the 200 meters where she won silver. And that's something that is not looked positively on.
Meantime, the official farewell for the team will take place next week Monday, in which the flag bearer will be announced along with the unveiling of the team uniform. Gregory Avira, PNGTV Live.
And to end our bulletin, a principal of the law firm embroiled in the saga involving the arrest warrant issued for Prime Minister Peter O'Neill is now taking legal action against those who were involved in the demise of his firm and his name. Paul Paraka of Paraka Lawyers is on a warpath to seek damages estimated to be in the billions of kina and even imprisonment of those involved in the scandal that lasted 5 years. Kaligantanda with this report.
It's my turn now. It's my time now. They'll never run away from me, guys.
These were the words of Paul Paraka, the principal of Paraka Lawyers, as he announced the start of his legal action to clear his name and claim damages for losses he suffered in the last 5 years when he was arrested and charged in October 2013 by the Investigation Task Force sweep team. Paraka stated that the last 5 years had been difficult for him to speak out because no one would hear his side of the story. And now the dust had finally settled for him to bring proceedings against 16 defendants, the majority of whom are from the government. In his originating summons filed on the 8th of this month, Paraka has named, along with the state, as defendants parliamentarians such as Prime Minister Peter O'Neill, Foreign Affairs Minister Ringbing Pato, former Attorney General Karen Gakua, members of the Investigation Task Force sweep team, Waigani District Court magistrates, and IRC Commissioner Betty Palazzo, other government officers, and even Bank South Pacific.
Those individuals who screwed me up, and they're going to pay me big compensation for destroying the biggest law firm in this country. I'll make sure they pay that from their own pockets. If they don't have the money to pay, I'll have them declared bankrupt. They lost all their jobs and privileges that they have, and they'll walk on the streets of the city of Port Moresby just the way I struggled.
The reliefs sought by Paraka in his summons include the judicial review and nullifying of decisions by the National Executive Council. This includes the decision to establish the Investigation Task Force sweep team and even decisions by respective cabinet members. This includes the decision by the IRC to impose a tax assessment sum of 96 million kina and statutory garnishing notices against Paraka to all banks, and also the cancellation of his passport by then Attorney General Keringakua. The lawyer claims to have over 100 grounds to support his claim, which he has compiled over the last 5 years.
I have in excess of 100 points, 100 grounds, under every laws that you can find in this country, under all the statutory laws passed by those bunch of stupid guys in the Florida Parliament, under the Constitution. And in totality, I got in excess of 100 points, guys. I'm the most happiest, the most relaxed man, knowing very well that my time is now coming.
Paraka is seeking damages and compensation for the loss of business, which he claims was the single largest law firm in PNG at the time, with close to 2,000 employees operating in all 22 provinces. He claims the firm had lost all its clients, numbering almost 160,000 since its collapse in July 2013. His claim for loss of client and business is at 650 million kina per year for the last 5 years now, which amounts to 3.25 billion kina in total. This is apart from his claim of 500 million kina in the cost of building the firm over a 25-year period, as well as 950 million kina in the recovery of business income lost at the time of the closure of the firm's operations. Claims for future loss of clients and business over the next 25 years at a rate of 650 million kina per year brings the total to 16.25 billion kina.
I get my business back, I get my money, I get the politics.
Recent failure of the state lawyer to appear this week in court has seen the National Court issue an order to the Solicitor General to appear in court next Tuesday on the 27th of March at 9:30 a.m. Meanwhile, in response, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill did not want to comment on the summons at this point, but says Mr. Paraka can utilize the courts to prove his innocence. Kaligantanda, PNGTV Live.
You're watching PNGTV Live News Bulletin. Thanks for joining us. From myself and the news team, it's good night.